On his first day in office, the president signs this Executive Order 14160, and in it he claims that he can change the definition of citizenship as per the 14th Amendment. This actually directly contradicts the 14th Amendment, and this is a form of policy that the president does not have the power to enact through an executive order. Bear in mind that executive orders aren't even explicitly enumerated in the Constitution. They are something that kind of came through precedent over time, and they were meant to be a directive to how federal agencies should operate, not a form of policy to define things as broad as citizenship. 22 U.S. states filed lawsuits against this order, and multiple federal judges blocked it with injunctions from taking effect. This morning, however, the Supreme Court ruled against these injunctions, saying here, universal injunctions likely exceed the equitable authority that Congress has given to federal courts. The court grants the government's applications for a partial stay of the injunctions entered below, but only to the extent that the injunctions are broader than necessary to provide complete relief to each plaintiff with standing to sue. My frustration with that is that the Supreme Court is ruling that the injunctions only apply to people who have legal standing against this. But the definition of citizenship affects everyone. It applies to everyone in the United States. So if someone is trying to change that, not through Congress, then everyone effectively has legal standing against it. What's also being implied in this decision is that the people who are fighting for their rights in court, if they win, they will have their rights restored, but this won't establish legal precedents for everyone else. Which makes it so that the only way that you can fight for your rights is by filing cases individually, which again, legal precedence is necessary because very few people have the ability, nor the time, nor the money to fight things in court. The reason why we don't have to all fight for our rights as citizens is because of legal precedents. I've seen this strategy being done in conservative states like Texas regarding reproductive rights, where cases regarding the need for an abortion are handled on an individual basis so they don't establish precedents, which is ridiculous because if one person almost dies because they have a hazardous pregnancy, then they are denied an abortion. Why shouldn't that establish precedents for someone who has another hazardous pregnancy of a similar nature? It should establish precedents so that the suffering doesn't continue and so that every person doesn't have to fight for their right to survive in court. Bear in mind that this all started because the president signed an executive order that is well outside his scope of authority. The president is not the sole decision maker as to what it means to be a citizen. Also, what is just stopping the president from signing 400 to 500 executive orders that all directly contradict the Constitution? If people fight it in court, can he still carry out the orders as if they are lawful until a verdict is reached months or years later? If a verdict is reached, does it only apply to the people who have filed suit against it, or does it apply to all citizens because it directly contradicted the Constitution? What does this mean regarding executive power in the United States? What does this mean regarding checks and balances by the judicial branch of the United States?